Hellsweeper, an amazing new roguelike VR game that people have been anticipating for years, is finally out. Now, outside of it being a ton of fun and maybe possibly the co-op being broken, the one big takeaway that I have is, oh my god, is the difficulty spike on the first boss you fight massive. What I mean by that is you're like chugging through levels as if it's nothing, and then you fight this boss, and then you die in half a second, whilst trying to read and remember what the game wants you to do for certain mechanics that are explained to you 4 hours ago. So that brings us to today's video. I'm going to be telling you guys everything that you can leverage to get an advantage within Hellsweeper, at least to get you past Act 1 boss. The question that most people are going to be asking themselves is, why am I not dealing damage to the boss? I was nuking everything and now I'm not. Well, the reason why you're not is because he has a shield up. Now that's obvious, but then the next question is, well, then how do I break the shield? Well, simply put, in order to break any shield, it seems like you need to do impact damage. Now, the easiest way to do this in the boss fight is to kill some of the enemies that just keep getting thrown at you, because you can pick up the enemy's bodies and throw it at the enemy's shield, the boss's shield, and it will shatter the shield. He'll get stunned for a bit. Enemies will still be pushing in on you. We'll talk about how you can survive in a minute, but then you just do as much damage as you possibly can, and you rinse and repeat. You can also, and this is probably the one I'd advise the most of, you can actually get 1 level of levitation if you have that equipped, and that will allow you to basically summon a rock out of the ground and then huck it at any enemy in the world space. This is something that's just good to have in general, especially if you have levitation. You do this by holding down both of the triggers, the grip button and of course the trigger button, and then you basically point your palm up and then hit those triggers, pull upwards as if you're ripping a rock out of the ground, and then you'll have a floating rock next to you, huck it at the enemy shield, bang, shield is gone. You don't have to kill an enemy and then try to frantically lock on to the enemy's body and grab it and throw it. The next thing you're going to be interacting with is, why am I dying in a split second? What is going on? I was doing fine this whole time. Enemies, I could like dodge and get around them and all that stuff. Now I'm just like, boom, blitzkrieg dead. So here are all my tips about how to actually get as much of an advantage as you can, at least right now that I know of, and these are plenty to get you past the first couple acts. So first things first, when you're in this boss fight, I would highly advise you having 2 modes. Attack mode, going in and doing damage, and survival mode, getting distance and spamming dash, not jump. Think of these 2 modes when you're in the boss fight. To put it simply, the boss seems to have really low aggression the further you are away from him. He does sometimes have this barrage of AoE hits, but that's why dashing is so important, not jumping. Don't get this confused with jumping. Jumping is basically you just jump up in the air and you're in full animation. You can still move around, aim, all that stuff. A dash is like a teleport. It's just a quick teleport. Just do a series of small dashes in front of you that aren't that long distance kind of like thread thing, and you'll be able to move much faster and a little bit more inebriating, but you'll be fine. Just keep dashing like that and getting distance the further you are away from the enemy. This will also help training the massive amount of enemies thrown at you right now. So just keep rinsing and repeating this. Switch between these modes. Break the shield, go in, deal damage, get distance, go into survival mode. You play it by ear if you want to go do more damage, take a risk, or just play survival mode and slowly chip away at this. If you can handle that as worse when he's starting to get really aggro heavy, then you're going to be fine, and how you do that is just by doing a lot of dashing. Okay, the second tip I have for you is to leverage a strong start. This is a roguelike, in which you have everything to gain and everything to lose when you don't get a build-defining perk that you can get from the very beginning of the run. So make sure you get that build-defining perk. If you like guns, then get a really good gun perk. If you like magic, get some of the amazing magic perks. Magic is a little OP, let's talk about that in a minute. But point is rinse and repeat until you get a perk that lines up with the way you want to play and or build. Hopefully you played a couple runs so you know what you like. But let me just tell you, if you want a good start, magic. Go with fire magic. Oh my god, it is incredible. We'll talk about that in a minute. I want to talk about it now, but we'll talk about it in a minute. All this looks like is you jump into an instance, you check out the gear, you grab the golden kind of orb, the like yellow orb crystal, break it in your hands, see if you get 2 good options. If none of them are good for what you want, then just dip out. Abandon the run, jump in again, get a good run. You'll get more XP for pushing further into the levels than dying in the first 4 levels. This takes 2 seconds to just reset the run, get a really strong start, and then you'll be able to go even further, getting even more experience and money and etc. Again, with the perk I got, which I love to bits, it basically takes away all of your health and gives you a regenerating shield, which is amazing. And it converts all of that health to more mana, in which you can just basically hold down Fire Blast forever. It's great. And magic is really good in this game. Okay, so this tip is like, I'm gonna need help in the comments a little bit. There's something up with these keys, man. Okay. Leverage colored keys. Okay, hear me out. Hear me out. This is gonna make sense. This is gonna make sense. I think based on the keys you get to spawn, there's platinum, there's gold, there's jade, there's silver, there's copper. Based on the keys you get from breaking those like lantern things, they seem to have an effect on what happens when you open chests. Now, the thing that I'm confused about is I don't know if there is like a quality of key that gets you like double the perks. So sometimes you'll put in like, for instance, I put in 3 jade keys. Boom, boom, boom. And then what I got back was not just 1 upgrade to my spell, to my weapon, to my pistol, to my whatever. I got 2. That's amazing. You can level up your weapon twice. That every time you clear 1 level, you only choose 1 thing to level up. So these keys can give you an extra 2 points. That's an extra 2 levels of damage. That's massive. It's huge. But I don't think it's just the rarity of the keys that matter. I think it's also the keys determine what bonus you get. So I think if you use 2 silver keys, I've noticed that I've gotten a high probability of actually getting a melee perk upgrade. And when I use jade upgrades, I actually get magic. Although I feel like it would make much more sense for there to be keys that have a high lean towards magic, guns, or melee, and then for there to be other keys that affect the quality of what you're getting to drop. I'll be honest, I feel like I'm a psycho. I'm like, it's a jade key magic. I use jade key no magic this time. I get like weird mana, and I'm like, okay, it's kind of similar. Okay, 2 silvers, that's gonna be a weapon, right? Okay, now it gave me a gun. What is going on? So this tip is more of a plea of insanity and me being like, there's something there, buddy. Again, I just use the green ones because I like magic a lot. If you happen to know, please leave in the comments and help everyone as a collective, including your boy, okay? But silliness aside, there's something there. There's something with the keys, man. But you can never go wrong with just slapping in the best quality keys you have. Gold, jade, platinum. There's a difference between platinum and silver. Make sure you have a good light source to see which one is which, and all that stuff. Lastly, this is my absolute pleading with you if you're having a hard-ass time with this game, and specifically the boss, and you've already tried getting a really good start, you've already leveraged the fact that you're using these keys, you've already spammed the hell out of dodge ton just to avoid his damage, and you've happened to level up your levitate skill at least once so that you can summon forth a rock at any drop of the hat and shatter his shield. If you've done all that and you're still struggling, magic. Magic, my boy. Leverage magic, specifically the absolutely spicy fire magic, man. If you invest in fire magic and you keep investing into it, you eventually unlock the ability to have 2 threads of fire. So if you summon a fireball, you push forward with the trigger button and it will basically cast a fast-hitting AoE flamethrower effect. Now, if you keep investing in the fire perk, you eventually can get the ability to have 2 flamethrowers coming out of your hand, 3 flamethrowers, 4 flamethrowers. Granted, it does eat the hell out of your mana if you keep timesing this, which is fine because you don't want to be sitting underneath the boss for a million years anyway. You want to quickly do as much damage as you possibly can and then get distance from him and keep rinsing and repeating. Movement is your friend in this game. Vomit and vertigo be damned. Anyway, now I wish I could say that it's pretty simple. The whole level up magic, you'll be good to go. The way magic works in this game and the way that you level up any of your weapons sometimes cannibalizes the effect that you were giving it. So for instance, if you have flamethrower, like you have 4 threads, 5 threads, whatever, like tons of flamethrowers come on your fists, and then you get the curveball augment, that will replace the flamethrower effect. Now the good news is that you can go back to flamethrower and you'll keep your progress and you'll just have wasted the curveball point. But what you can do is skip that effect. And eventually, you'll have something called Fire AoE. When you have the option to choose Curveball, there'll be arrows towards the left or right of them, of that icon. Click the right, and there'll be one that basically gives you more AoE damage, and that will be able to be merged with your Fire AoE flamethrower thread thing. So yes, it's a little confusing. You have to play it by ear, dance around, have some fun. It's a roguelike. Don't be too upset if you die a lot. But these are the things I think that you could take into damn near any fight in the future and basically thrive. Although I do feel like I failed you with the whole key thing, but I'm hoping there's some champ in the comments that are like, hey bud, here you go. Thank you from across the Canadian pond. Love you to bit. Thank you. And lastly, if anyone else has any tips that they want to share about things and strategies that you can leverage, again, fire and magic to me seem really, really good, at least at the start. Maybe it starts getting less good when enemies start being more resistant. Also, this is going off of normal mode. I haven't gotten access yet to elite or realistic or whatever kind of different difficulties they have at them. I may make like a revitalized version of each axe boss in the future. Maybe it's just one sort of hive mind video. but I do plan on covering each of the bosses and each of the ways and strategies that you can use to thrive as a Hellsweeper, so to speak. And also, we're going to be talking about a ton of Hellsweeper because I'm enjoying this game so much. The melee, the effects, the dog. Oh my god, dude, I cannot wait to tell you guys how to get the dog and how good he can become. Okay, the answer is so good. So good. Dog boy, max peak. Huge. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, forgive me. Again, we'll be covering a lot of Hellsweeper. Hopefully I can see you again. Thank you kindly for your time. And I can't wait to see you in the next Hellsweeper video. Goodbye, my friends.